So here we are. Wuthering Waves has been out for a few days now, and this video is going to be covering my opinions of the game now that I've had a chance to play it thoroughly. This is essentially going to be my first impressions, I think. Nothing too detailed, but I am going to be telling you whether it's worth your time. And yeah, it really is. It is actually way better than I thought it was going to be, and I'm very glad I played it. Now, to preface, now this was apparently meant to be a competitor to Genshin Impact, which is something that I fell in love with in about 2021 and started playing very frequently after that point. And now that I've fallen off that, I can definitely see why this game is actually really, really good. For example, right, here's your first bit. Traversal mechanics are so much fucking better. They're so buttery smooth. It's so good because not only can you climb up walls like you can in Genshin, and I'm going to be making a lot of Genshin comparisons, by the way, so, you know, if you're annoyed about that, that's unfortunate, because that's really the only thing I can compare it to. You can run up walls as well. In fact, you can run along walls. You can vault. You can go from A to B instead of taking, like, an entire person's lifetime to get up a rock face. It is so good. And also, you have access to a grappling hook as well. And that is really, really useful. That's typically something that you only ever use when you're in the Jinzhou, I think that's what it is. I think that's what the city's name is. Because what that has is like grapple points on top of buildings and stuff like that. But you can also use it in combat, which means that you get like a free attack, which doesn't use any stamina or whatever. And it can be really good for just gaining a bit of distance and saving yourself from a bad jump as well. Hey, if you ever did one of those parkour games that you find on the overworld, it can save you from a bad jump, and then you could still get it in a reasonable time. So, like, it's a very good system. And yeah, it feels so fucking good to travel. You have many different ways to just go from A to B. And I don't feel like you need a vehicle. Like, this is the most fun way to just run from place to place to go and do these different quests, because I can just get there, you know? That's all I'm concerned about. And I press W and shift, and then I just fucking go. And that's it. It's so fucking amazing, man, how they've done this. And I'm very impressed. Now, the next bit is the combat. Being more of a combat-focused game, I think it did it really well because it is actually more involved, and it's more interesting than Genshin's combat by a ton, and it is still casual, which is something that I feel like is very hard to pull off, but I do believe that they've put a very good balance between the two. Now, I'm specifically saying this because, for example, in many different action games, you can parry, or you can dodge, or you can both. This game does have both, but you can do it either by attacking at exactly the right time, or dodging at exactly the right time, right? I think you just literally press spacebar or left click, essentially. And yeah, you can just gain like a lot of this power on the intro moves, quote unquote, and yeah, it makes combat really nice because I can actually treat it with some sort of skill instead of it just being fucking button mashing. How powerful is my character? Oh my god, it's only level 20, or better back off. Look, bro, this is some footage of me going up against a level 45 monster, which turns out to be a Pokemon that you can collect on the top of the world, on the overworld, which I'm gonna call now. They are actually all Pokemon now. it's because it fucking is. So yeah, 25. I'm level 20 right now, and the enemy is level 45. And with a few tries, I still managed to beat it, and it felt fun to do, like I'd actually expect, which is so fucking good. I'm very happy with how the combat's turned out so far. And I do think that once you've done combat, getting one of these monsters is actually a great reward. Especially seeing as you can transform into them, you can have them as a stat boost or whatever, and it makes it way more interesting instead of just killing it and getting drops, you know? So, this is great. All of this is great. You know, you've got a really good reward at the end of a really good fight. Very finely tuned, very well executed fight. very well executed combat, essentially. And the exploration is incredibly fun. And those are the main things that I've wanted. It's so good. Now, I will bring a couple of points up that just kind of make the experience a bit dull and a bit, unsavory. For example, the English voice acting could do a bit better direction because it just didn't feel right. It just didn't feel right, let me tell you. For example, Chixia, I think her name is. I believe she's the really free-spirited, eccentric girl that you meet at the very beginning. She does not feel like that. She still feels very relaxed a lot of the time, and the VA kind of pulls it off sometimes, but she still has too much of a soft voice, especially when there's downtime, and it just doesn't feel quite right, especially when you're like in a city and you're talking to her normally, there's not in combat or whatever. Feel that there's something missing from that. I feel that that's missing from a lot of the characters, actually. For example, Yang Yang as well. Like she's always very softly spoken, and that's fine. But there's no, for example, like you'll get to parts of the story where you'll get some sort of distressing moment, and you don't get that from her. Yeah, she doesn't feel like she's distressed. She's just feeling like she's like in this trance or whatever, and she's always talking at the same monotone voice, essentially. Monotone's a bit unfair, but it's still not. It doesn't have that wide emotive range that I would expect, unfortunately. So, kind of, it's not the greatest, I would say. Another negative for the game so far is that the story's a bit lackluster. I feel, because I feel like with a lot of different gacha games, the story gets over-explained a lot of the time. And it's like, I know that a lot of it is trying to be conveyed from a completely different country, which is understandable. But it doesn't feel like it's been properly slotted into like good storytelling, because a lot of the details just get brushed over a lot, or don't get explained enough at all, and it feels like they chuck too many fucking like pretentious terms at you that you're supposed to know, and it's like, bro, just tell me in simple terms what this fucking means, honestly, even for stuff like a fucking tutorial telling me like how to do this, I don't care about what the cube is fucking called, or what the directional pads are called. Just tell me how to do it without just giving me the answer, That's all I want. I don't want all these complicated terms muddling up what I'm supposed to be doing. And I feel that the story does also do that as well, because there's so many different like fucking names for shit that are actually irrelevant at this point, because I'm just being introduced to this, and it just makes it quite frustrating and a bit tiring to listen to, if I'm being honest. And obviously this makes it worse because the voice acting is not quite up to par. Just feel that they missed the mark a bit with that. And apparently this is the better version of the story. That the story wasn't as good before, which I can't possibly imagine how bad the story was before. Like, holy shit, that must have been fucking atrocious. But I don't mind it. To be fair, it's fine, because at the very least, like, you can see. I remember the story a bit because I can see the effects of this like demise event. What was it? Is it the demise? I can't even fucking remember what it's supposed to be called, but yeah. I can see the effects of it on the world map. So at least that's something. That's always in my mind, and then that means that I can recall to the earlier conversations of when that was first mentioned, and that means I can remember it. There's that. But unfortunately, I don't feel that the grand scheme of the story is being conveyed particularly well at the moment. We'll see how it goes. There's been only the first couple days I've been playing the game, but at the moment it doesn't look too strong. So I will have to deduct points from that, unfortunately. Now, I haven't tried the game in multiplayer just yet, because I've been wanting to explore, get, farm materials, get all the fucking beacons and shit, and I've been too concerned about just exploring the world and doing the quests that I haven't wanted to go into the multiplayer. But I think the next time I'm going to do it, I will actually tackle it, because I have no idea how the multiplayer plays, and how like 3 different people playing at the same time actually work you know, or at least if they work well in a game like this. But I will definitely try it soon enough. I just haven't gone and tried it yet. This is going to be the very, very big thing with a game like this, and that is going to be the gacha. And I have to tell you, it's very important that you know this. But I've saved my pulls, so I have no fucking clue how good the gacha is. The trouble is that I'm waiting for a full like 80 pulls or something for the premium banner, and I'm grinding them out. And yeah, it's pretty slow at the moment because I'm just getting used to like how you get all these pulls and stuff. But at the moment, it feels basically the same as Genshin's. You know, I will say that it's a bit of a shame that they decided to stick with like the multiple currencies. They did what Snowbreak did essentially, because Snowbreak had two different they had two different character currencies for pulling characters, and they had two different weapon currencies. So you ended up having to keep track of 4 different fucking currencies that shares this like pool of whatever kind of like 5th currency that you can exchange into. Like it's just really, really stupid. I would have preferred it if they had one common currency and one premium currency, and that would have been it. Oh fuck it, one currency to begin with, because I know Azure Lane does it, and it makes it really simple to understand. And don't know why they couldn't have done it for Wuthering Waves. It just makes it really, really tiresome to know which pulls do what. And for example, like the gold, if the pull is golden by any means, it's probably for the premium banner. But you don't need to have 1,000,001 fucking currencies for the different banners. You could have just made it at most 2, and that would have been fine. But unfortunately, it's like that. But as for the gacha, I haven't tried it yet. I have got a character. I have got one of the redheads. She's fucking cute. Her name is Danjin, and I quite like her, to be honest. She feels like she's definitely going to be my wife when I get older. But regardless, I have not been pulling that much. So I haven't even used a fucking beginner banner, which I believe is going to stay there until I use up all 50 pulls on it. It's quite fine, I think. But that is going to be my first impressions of Wuthering Waves. It's a very short video, I know, and I really haven't given much information, but honestly, it's very, very cool. Go and play it. I do recommend it. I really, really do. Even at the state it's currently at, even with the performance issues, which I did get fixed by myself, by the way. It's just that the game takes a lot of memory. So if you've got stuff like browsers open, it's best if you just close them, and then the game will then be a lot smoother. That's my fix for it. I'm on a Windows 11 machine. I don't know if it's going to work for you, but just give it a try, right? So, thank you very much for watching this video. I will be posting more Wuthering Waves content as I manage to get through it, because I've got like hours and hours of stream footage to get through, and this is going to be a very, very long process. But I appreciate you watching this video. Hopefully this was helpful. If you have any questions, put them in the fucking comments below, or something, I don't know, shit them out into the toilet. I've got a Discord, by the way, in the description. I've got Twitch in the description. That's where I recorded this gameplay. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.